Welcome to the Ninja Robot Studio LLC stream, where I play video games and VR experiences and talk through them from a UX designer's perspective. This game design has a very heavy and direct influence on XR design, so it makes sense that we would study games in order to enable us to create more compelling and user-friendly experiences for XR. I am going to be playing a game today called Fire Safety VR Training. I have not gone through the whole thing before, so I don't know how well it's going to work. It is making my CPU go crazy, so we'll see how well this goes. I do not want to fry my computer, so hopefully my memory and my CPU are both pretty high right now. I will try. It seems that all of the official training out there tends to be very poor in performance, the ones that are available for free. So that is very telling to me, because the last one I tried crashed everything, as the performance was terrible. I have just recently upgraded my graphics drivers, so that shouldn't be the issue this time. It was possible that it was an issue last time, but even after my drivers were updated, I wasn't able to. It just was maxing out my CPU, unless of course there's something wrong with my CPU. But anyway, yeah, we'll see. We are gonna give it a go. So I go through these games based on pillars of gaming UX and based on UX best practices for XR. I've written a lot about best practices for XR, a lot of content. You can check it out on my website. You can actually check out all of the things and all of the links on my Linktree. If you want to check those out, I have an online school that there are 2 free classes on there right now, and I'm working on a 3rd class that's going to be a paid class. But I also teach and create curriculum and content for Circuit Stream. So I teach XR design and with focus on UX. And yeah, I am though thinking about changing my source, the site that I use for my on-demand courses, because I'm not happy with the price structure and benefits. They keep removing benefits from this price structure on the platform I'm using right now, so I'm very seriously probably going to change platforms as soon as possible. But anyway, all that stuff's done in my free time, so I don't have a lot of time to work on it. And I have a meeting in an hour, so I won't be able to stay on for long today either. This is all free stuff that I'm doing, not paid. So if you would like to support me, you can by becoming a patron, and that will help me continue to be able to do this stuff. But let's get into this game. I do have a meeting to get to in an hour, but less than an hour. So let's get to this, and hopefully we will. Yeah, I'm verifying. I do have a meeting. Less than an hour. So let me get in here and let's get as much as we can done here. And what we don't finish, we'll try to finish up next week. I usually at the end of each session do a rose, thorn, bud, talk about what's working, what's not working. If this were our project, what would we do to make it better? And then talk about best practices for that. And if I don't finish today, we'll finish it next time, next Thursday. Because again, sorry, I have to cut short for the next few weeks so that I can make these meetings at a recurring meeting for, I don't know, a few weeks. We'll see how long. But yeah, so let me get my headset set up and get in this VR training sim so we can see what we are working on today. Is VR safety training. So this is an official training, I believe. It's training your professional skills in fire safety VR training and in full correspondence with international standards. So you will be able to, you'll learn about all of these things about calling the fire brigade. Fire brigade, that sounds like it's made in another country, not US, not what we call them here. Is international, made by GW Pro. We will see how far we get with this. Let me get this out of the way. We can see the sound. Okay. Give me a moment to get hooked up in here. I'm getting some jitteriness. Yeah, I am. CPU seems to be doing okay right now. Yeah, I am getting some jitter. This looks like I already feel a little weird because these controllers, the way they have them mapped, you can set up an offset in VR on where your controller's placed in your hand and so forth. And already these are off. I can tell these are off from my actual location of my actual controllers. Because this is something to do with proprioception. Proprioception is your ability to know where each of your body parts are within, I think it's like 8 or 5 centimeters of accuracy. And I can tell you right now that these are not where my controllers are in real life. They're off. They're offset. And also, these having these raycasts, these are called raycasts, these little lasers that are coming out are called raycasts. These showing all of the time regardless of where you're yeah, there's another comment, regardless of where you're pointing is distracting and breaks immersion. So pretty immediately immersion's already broken because my controllers aren't inked up to where they should be with my actual hands, and these laser raycasts, these raycasts are showing all of the time, and is a relatively simple thing to do to hide the raycasts until they interact with something that's interactable. It's very easy to do this, and it also prevents accidental clicks on things when you set up your UI layers separately so that your raycast is not interfering with and causing accidental clicks on things if you interact with something. Another thing is whenever I turn my head, this thing is following me around. So what if I want to look around the room? Yeah, it's grayed out, but maybe I want to look around the room, but this thing's following me and blocking my view. That's annoying. You want to not do that. It's better to keep the UI panel where you want, just keep it in a set place in space, just like you would in real life. A panel that you interact in real life doesn't follow you around. Just follow that rule. And if you want them to look somewhere, what would you do in real life? You use wayfinding in real life to get them to look where you want them to go. Sound effects, spatial audio, things like that to get them to look where you want them to look. But it's human nature whenever you first get into VR is to look around the whole thing. So they're gonna eventually see it if they don't. So it's okay to not follow around your head. This is actually really annoying. It does give you 2 options for language, which is nice, and they are shown in the language that is actually being spoken, which is also an excellent best practice. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. This is a free demo.
To continue, adjust the IPD. Place yourself in the center of the room and make sure you put the headset on correctly. After that, point at the continue button with your controller beam and pull the trigger.
But it's telling me how to properly adjust my interpupillary distance and get my headset set up and set up my play space and so forth, which is nice. But since I'm already in the headset, I've kind of already got my headset on. But at least it's telling me make sure my IPD is adjusted. That's fine. That's nice. It's good. Helps prevent eye strain. And if you're in a
to continue, adjust the IPD. Place yourself in the center of the room and make sure move to the electrical shield. To move, point the controller at the green circle and pull the trigger.
It's giving me instructions right now, and it'll probably continue repeating them because I haven't done anything, which is fine. But if you're in a classroom setting, which is what I was trying to say, you've got shared devices and you're talking to a trainer or you're talking to other classmates, then you're going to want to be able to progress this definitely at your own pace. And you're going to want to accompany all of the vocal instruction with written instruction, because it's very possible that you're going to miss something. And I'm getting a really bad jitter on this thing in the headset.
Move to the electrical shield. To move, point the controller at the green circle and pull the trigger.
Performance on this one is also not that great, which I don't really understand why, unless they've got too much poly count on their models, which is possible. The trees have lots of leaves on them and stuff, so maybe there's just I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot of jitter going on. It could also be my computer. I have
move to the electrical shield. So we'll see. To move, point the controller at the green circle and pull the trigger.
But it keeps repeating. I would say don't do that if you're in a classroom setting. Just do a verbal once, and then have a written sign somewhere repeating what they're saying again, because if they're in a classroom setting, they're going to be distracted by what's going on, a trainer or something. And also, if somebody is hearing impaired, they're not going to be able to hear.
Move to the electrical shield.
The instructions that the person's saying, and it's also incredibly annoying.
And pull the trigger.
So, yeah, that's what I would say. I'm going to go ahead and move, and they are having me teleport by pointing my trigger button.
Pick up the power cable. To pick up an object, hold your hand near it and pull the trigger.
And again, my hands are not where they are in real life, which is throwing me off. I can tell that my hands are not where they are in real life. So that is also throwing me off and breaking my immersion, not to mention the lasers coming out of my hands. Is also throwing me off.
Insert the plug into the socket. To release or set an object in your hand, open the electrical panel door. Put your hand near the object to interact with it and pull the trigger.
Yeah, and since it's using my hands, there's no need for a laser to be showing right now. And I can understand why they want to use the trigger for everything, but it's usually best to use whatever the standard buttons are for the device that you're using. If your standard button for grabbing something is the grip button, use the grip button, because that's going to help people from device to device, from experience to experience on the same device.
Door. Put your hand near the object to interact with it and pull the trigger.
I'm not sure if you can hear it, but they keep repeating the same instruction over and over again. If it had been written on the wall, they wouldn't have to repeat it. But the grip button is what you would want to use, but I'm having to use the trigger button, which is throwing me off, as well as this jitter that's happening inside the headset.
Press the button. To do this, put your hand close to it and pull the trigger.
And it's telling me to press the button. To do it, put my hand near the button and pull the trigger. I'm doing everything left-handed because my right arm is injured and I can't move it very well. Everything I'm having to do is left-handed. But there was no option for me to change handedness at the beginning. And that's going to be kind of significant if there's anything in one of my hands in the future, which is a common thing in training.
Press the button.
Hi, Phantom. So yeah, the speaker, so you can hear it. Okay, yeah, it's very annoying. Okay, so this is a free trial. And, yeah, I have not paid for this. I'm glad I have not paid for this. These lasers, these raycasts are also annoying, and again, my hands are offset. They're not where they actually are in real life. They've offset them for some reason, which is throwing my hands off too. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the free trial. I don't know, I'm not positive which one I'm supposed to hit start on. I will just...
Welcome to VR Simulator Fire Safety.
And again, the panel following me around is annoying. I'm going to learn.
Find an escape plan and study it. Remember the shortest path indicated in the plan from the workplace to the escape door, as well as the location of manual call points to raise an alarm and the location of hand fire extinguishers. To do this, hover the pointer to the evacuation plan and pull the trigger, then hover the pointer over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger.
I can't rotate myself in the VR experience. There's no snap rotation or anything, so I'm to physically rotate, which is fine, but first of all, I should have been spawned facing where they want me to face. Unless, of course, they're wanting me to find it. Again, the speaker's annoying.
Remember the shortest path indicated in the plan from the workplace to the escape door, as well as the location of manual call points to raise an alarm and the location of hand fire extinguishers. To do this, hover the pointer to the evacuation plan and pull the trigger, then hover the pointer over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger.
That's entirely too much information to just say verbally. Have it written on a panel. So I actually don't remember most of what he said.
Find an escape plan and study it. Remember the shortest path indicated in the plan from the workplace to the escape door, as well as the location of manual call points to raise an alarm and the location of hand fire extinguishers. To do this, hover the pointer to the evacuation plan and pull the trigger, then hover the pointer over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger. Check for the presence of an emergency exit and manual call points at the locations indicated in the evacuation plan according to the checklist. To do this, hover the pointer over the inspected object and pull the trigger, then move the hover over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger. To move, hover the controller pointer over the green circle and pull the trigger.
Too much instruction at once. I didn't even hear anything he was saying because I was thinking about the fact that now my left hand, which is the hand that I'm able to use right now, has something in it, and now I'm not going to be able to use my left hand. And also, it was nice that they do have a checkbox next to the thing that you've done, indicating completion. That's a good thing. You want to do that, but I am probably going to have to come back and inspect this thing if I don't understand something.
Check for the presence of an emergency exit and manual call points at the locations indicated in the evacuation plan according to the checklist. To do this, hover the pointer over the inspected object and pull the trigger, then move the hover over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger. To move, hover the controller pointer over the green circle and pull the trigger.
And I understand why this was an early thing, so I actually don't know how old this game is. I didn't look at the year it was made, but early on, we used these teleportation pods instead of just letting you free teleport, because new users will often like over teleport or something until they get used to it. But the problem with these teleportation pods is that they're not set up where I need to actually teleport. This one is, but if I need to go back and re-inspect that plan, which I will try to do now, because I tried this
Check for the
earlier.
presence of an emergency exit and manual call points at the locations indicated in the evacuation plan according to the checklist. To do this, hover the pointer over the inspected object and pull the trigger, then move the hover over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger. To move, hover the controller pointer over the green circle and pull the trigger.
As you can see, there's a pod here, but this pod, I can't get over back to the thing to inspect it because it's too far away. There's no teleportation pod directly in front of that, so I can't go back and re-inspect it. And so I need to inspect the call point button. Another reason you want to be able to have some kind of snap turn
Check for the presence
is
of an emergency exit and manual
wired
call points
hookup,
at the locations
like wired
indicated in
headsets.
the evacuation plan according to the checklist. To do this, hover the pointer over the inspected object and pull the trigger, then move the hover over the required answer
I would hope that
option
it
in
would
the
shut up
context
as soon as
menu
you
and
start
pull the
doing stuff,
trigger.
but it doesn't.
To move, hover the controller pointer over the green circle and pull the trigger.
I had to click all over the door to figure out to get it to the thing to actually pop up. I should have been able to just click anywhere on the door. And these things. So I have to check my wires. Okay.
Check for the presence of an emergency exit and manual call points at the locations indicated in the evacuation plan according to the checklist. To do this, hover the pointer over the inspected object and pull the trigger, then move the hover over the required answer option in the context menu and pull the trigger. To move, hover the controller pointer over the green. Find the fire shield with extinguisher and open the window with the key. To do this, go to the fire shield, bring your hand to the window with the key and pull the trigger.
That's actually increasing the risk of motion sickness, how often you're having to teleport. Just let me free teleport. Just let me free teleport. So now here's the problem, because I can't, because my right arm
Find the
is
fire
injured.
Shield with extinguisher and open the window with the key. To do this, go to the fire shield, bring your hand to the window. Take the key by reaching closer
I was
to
able
it
to do
and
it,
pulling the trigger.
but I wouldn't do that because my hand is full. I wasn't aware that I would be able to do that. With my left hand, that is already full with a tablet. And I'm also short.
Take the key by reaching closer to it and pulling the trigger.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch hands. So best practice would be to let someone select their hand in this, especially if you're going to occupy one of the hands with a tablet or something. I would actually recommend not using the tablet at all. Let them have something they can pull up and dismiss.
Insert the key into the keyhole. To do this, bring your hand with the key to it and pull the trigger. Open the fire shield door. To do this, move your hand. Check the presence of a fire extinguisher in the cabinet and the pressure on the manometer. The pressure value should be in the green section of the manometer reading. To do this, hover the pointer over the manometer and pull the trigger, then hover the pointer over the required answer op. Check for discharge nozzle, safety lock pin and defects on the extinguisher. To do this, bring your hand to the fire extinguisher, pull the trigger, and then place the fire extinguisher in the cabinet. To do this, pull the trigger of the controller corresponding to the hand with the fire extinguisher. Close up the fire shield. To do this, move your hand to the door handle and pull the trigger. Put the key back in place. To do this, move your hand to the keyhole and pull the trigger. Slide the fire shield. You notice smoke and sparks in the hallway by the switchboard. Immediately call the emergency by number 112. While informing the address of the organization, its name, the place where smoke occurs, your last name, first name, and contact phone number.
It didn't let me actually, it didn't teach me anything about what I should be looking for on the pin, whatever it was talking about with the extinguisher. It didn't tell me what to look for. All I know about is the gauge now, that it's in the green. But it didn't tell me what to look for with the handle and stuff. The photo is kind of annoying. Popping up a photo. I don't know why they're doing that. I'm trying to interact with the UI. It's not. Again, right hand.
Name the full address of the object where the fire was detected.
So, if this were an emergency situation, I need to be able to do stuff with one hand. I actually don't know where I am.
Name the full address of the object where the fire was detected.
I seriously don't know where I am. Did it tell me where I was? I don't remember. And I can't get back over to the thing to check it. So I have no idea where I am, so I'm about to die. And everyone else here is about to die.
Name the nature and purpose of the object.
No.
The ignition of which object caused the fire. Give your last name, first name, and contact phone number. Help is on the way. Leave the building.
Activate the manual call point located at the emergency exit. To do this, move your hand to the call point. Open it by pulling the trigger, and then extend your hand a little further and pull the trigger again to turn on the alarm. Go back and take the extinguisher to extinguish the fire. To do this, repeat the steps already learned. Move to the place of fire. Pull out the safety lock pin with your
I'm doing
free
everything
hand.
with the wrong hand.
To do this, bring your free hand to the pin and pull the trigger. Pull the pin and pull the trigger again to release it.
Huh?
Grasp the discharge nozzle and direct it toward. Press the handle and cover the switchboard with fire extinguishing powder. To do this, pull the trigger of the controller cord. Release the discharge nozzle, and then the fire extinguisher. To do this, pull the trigger of the controller corresponding to the hand. Keeping calm, proceed to the emergency exit along the path from the evacuation plan. Pay attention to the absence of colleagues on the premises. Everyone must be evacuated. In order to call a straggling worker, hover the pointer over him and pull the trigger.
Well, I can't see in the quarters. And let's see. I'm hoping there's no one in there. I can't tell. I can't. See you in there. I hope everyone's out. Wow, this teleportation is so frustrating.
Evacuation completed. Wait for the fire safety
hey,
officer
I
at the
passed.
muster point to count all evacuees.
Okay, I guess we're done. I guess we're done then. Alrighty. I had to do everything opposite-handed. DTS? Oh, yeah. Saving money. Let me close this. Okay. I think Chrome is just as bad about hogging CPU as any VR game. Okay. Alrighty. No. No, it's not. I don't have a lot of time today to finish this, because we can pick it up next time and I can just scrub the video for next time. But, there was so much. What were... I need to think about the good things. They show a check mark on things, on tasks. Completed successfully. And lets you initiate start of experience. They weren't terrible, and again, I'm not sure how old this is. It's what I would expect. Oh wow, 2022. Not that old. I was expecting it to be older. Because of how they made it. I was expecting it to be older. 2018, 2019. But that is generally what I have seen in official training sims, is that quality is pretty much what I've seen. Complete with all of those annoying quirks. It did, like, looking at my CPU, because I have the monitor thing up on my CPU, and it was maxed again. Now that it's closed, my CPU's okay again, but so I'm guessing performance isn't awesome. But that's also normal for training sims. Not that that's okay. People need to learn how to optimize these things for a rec room builder could have done a better job. There's a challenge. There's a challenge. Can someone do that? We can see if someone can do a fire training in rec room. It's a better quality than that. Yeah. The teleportation pods, like, was annoying. I couldn't go any further. And I don't know, maybe they were trying to emulate, like, real life movement, like making it take longer than if teleport's instantaneous, you can get to one end of the hall from the other immediately, whereas in real life you can't do that. Maybe that's what they were trying to recreate with that. But it was just really frustrating because you'd still be able to look in a room to make sure that everyone's out before leaving the place. I couldn't even look in the rooms. I was very limited to where I could go. And that's a debate that I've had when I've been on teams making training sims in the past. Do we limit their movement, or do we let them move wherever they want? If we want it to be realistic and according to timing, how do we handle locomotion in that case? And so those are common things. Yeah. How do you solve that? Let's see. What's another good thing? It has a small onboarding that teaches you how to interact with objects before going into the sim. That was weird, having predefined teleport circles that didn't line up with the doors. Yeah, and it also didn't line up with that map, because I wanted to go back and look at the map again, but I couldn't, because there wasn't a pod there. There wasn't a teleportation thing there. Circle pod. I don't know why I'm calling it a pod. Pad. And I couldn't go back to see it. Was there anything else that was good? I did learn something, maybe. Did it tell me where I was? Because I don't remember it telling me where I was. Would I be able to repeat that? No. But in real life, I would have ended up asking a coworker to help with all of this, like asking a coworker to make the phone call while I try to put out the fire instead of making the phone call with the fire still going. I would have said, hey, put out the fire, I'm gonna call, or vice versa. And actually in office settings, well, ideally, you're gonna have a plan in place that you're trained on, where there are they're called fire, what are they called? Fire marshals, fire wardens, or something, that there's a title that they'll give someone in the office, train them on this, and they're in charge of making sure that everyone in that area is like safe and all that. They're regular employees, but they are trained specifically on that. But of course, I'm guessing not all offices have that, so, but the one I did had that. You do like that there were audio instructions? Yeah, there were audio instructions. That's good. Instructions. Oh, and they did have the language option too. Yes, we need good things. Language settings that are in the actual language. That's good. That's a good thing. So now some thorns, and I'll scrub it again next time. For thorns. You had a fire at your office? Oh well, and you kind of figured it out on the fly? You called the fire department while the other guy grabbed the extinguisher. Yeah, that's what I would have done, because I was just sitting there staring at this thing on fire, talking on the phone, and they're asking me all these questions while this fire's still going. It's like, why can't I get it to go over there and put out the fire while I'm on the phone, or vice versa? Especially if I'm the one with one arm working. It's like maybe someone else should be putting the fire out, not me. So there were a lot of annoying things. The teleportation limited to paths that don't line up with what you need to do. Like can't check corridors, make sure everyone is out. Can't go back and check the map since there's no teleportation pad in front of it. The hands and controllers are offset from IRL hands. This breaking immersion and decreasing accuracy of interactions. Grab interactions are on the trigger instead of grip button. And on the quest. Well, it depends on your controller. Because it would make sense if it's the Vive one, that you would have the grab on the trigger, since the grip button on the Vive wand is incredibly uncomfortable. Okay, and couldn't choose handedness, can't choose handedness. So had to being difficult. Limited mobility in one arm, making me have to switch controllers IRL to interact with things. That was really awkward. The voice narration keeps repeating. This is present tense. Too much information at once with no written instructions. If hearing impaired, can't learn. And if high likelihood of missing information when spoken and distractions happening IRL, like classroom settings. Which is common with training in VR at companies. Classroom settings for that. They'll have one person in the headset and they'll have a trainer and other people in the classroom watching, and they'll all talk about it. Let's do... There was more than this. There was still a lot of jittering and lag. It was a lot more jittering. A lot of jittering. And CPU drain. See the that gray cap showing at all times. Distracting. And the hands, hands not animated properly to really for all the interactions. It's like not even like to a simple degree. I think maybe it had a grip at one point, but half the time the hand just stayed open. I need to go back and double check that, but I'll double check that. This one's a good one to learn from, because you can learn what they did poorly. Because it brings up a lot of things that you want to think about in training. So it's a good example. Could you think of any? What else did I complain about? Or something that you can think of that's good. That's the raycast, yeah. I said they were showing at all times, and that was distracting. And also, the distance was weird or something. The distance settings are strange. Have to move hand closer to interact with those radio buttons during the call. So I had to actually switch my hand controllers again. Because again, my arm, because I was holding the phone in one hand, limited mobility in the other one. I'm also short, but I can't move my arm, I can't raise it. And I was holding the phone in the other hand. But being too short also is an issue, especially depending on where you place your fire safety stuff. Because, yeah, that's the question. Would I have been able to even reach the key in that thing? I don't know. Not sure. But how many children work at an office? It's kind of laws against that, I guess. The holding phone in left hand, can't move my right arm well enough. Yeah. So yeah, IRL problem there. Maybe it's accurate and useful being too short to call out the issue, because I mean, people in wheelchairs, I am not the only person that's my height. I know I'm in the lower 1% of adult females, but there are other people. I am not the only one that is this short. There are adults that are shorter than me, and again, people in wheelchairs. So, and people with limited mobility. What would they do if they were the one that were in there and saw the fire? Would they just yell for help because they can't do all those things? I think that in real life you'd be yelling out anyway, and getting help from somebody in real life. There was another NPC in there, and I don't remember what they were doing. I need to double check what that NPC was doing, because did they just like walk out and not say anything or do anything? Like, oh, there's a fire there. Bye. I don't know. I don't remember what they did. Or they were just standing there not doing anything. They double check what the NPC was doing. I'm gonna make a note to myself to double check that. But I do have to get going because that meeting at 1, my time 1. But I will continue this. I will scrub the video next time and we can go through it next time, because I've already, like, there's a lot going on, and I want to make good notes on it, because I think that this sim might be the one that we use in that training, in that class that I'm making, on how to make a training sim. So this one might be the one that the object lesson in there. So I'm gonna want to scrub this anyway. So that pop quiz during the phone call, yeah, it was rough. It's like, well, in 911, they do have questions. So I've had to call 911 because I was standing under a transformer once, or power lines once, when the power station right next to me caught on fire. So I wound up calling 911. I was in a parking lot. And they do ask questions. Yeah, and we also had to call 911 for my mom. But they don't ask that many questions. They do ask you your address, and they ask you, but yeah, I've never called for a fire, so I don't know if they're asking like source of fire and stuff. And again, this one's international, so it might be different. But it's like, I didn't even know where I was. It's like, I was just plopped into this virtual office. I have no idea where I am. The source of the fire? How do I know? I'm not a... Yeah, right. I'm not a... It looks like it's coming from this thing, but I don't know. That's what the fire department's job's for. They figure that out. Yeah. Right. It's a fire. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we can continue this one next week. And thanks for hanging out. And I will see y'all next time. But I've got another meeting I've got to go to. And I'll see y'all. Have a good rest of your day too.